Hey guys, happy Tuesday. I want to do just I don't want to say it's quick, but a video on a drain detail that I did that kind of came, the design detail just happened by chance, and so just kind of want to talk through that. So if you're a builder, you know that you're aware of things like the shadow line around windows that are done with like reglets, and then you have things like these vents that have a shadow line around it here like that. And recently when I was adding some footers to the basement for this remodel, I was having some other concrete cut, one for a drain and then other areas for a trench drain, just to get some drainage away from the house. And as you can see from this picture, right here, you get some water buildup, and so I wanted to figure out a way to handle that. And so in doing so, when the drains were getting cut, the trench drains and the footers, I was like, well, maybe we should put a drain there, to figure out a way to do that, and cut in a drain right here, given that that's kind of where the main water piles up at. And so when they cut it, it looked like this, and I was like that's it, like that's the drain. I'm not going to put in new cement and a floor drain here. I'm going to use the edges here to catch the water and then have that get drained out. You know, again, very similar to what you see in things like these exhaust vents and whatnot. So I'm noodling on this and figuring out, well, what do I need to do to make this happen? And so after the footers were cut in, I was having the some drainage done as well. So I'm like, well, there's got to be a way for me to tie this in to this drain work that I'm having. So as you can see here, this is where that cutout is without the concrete in place, and there's a drain, some drainage coming here that's catching water that's coming down a downspout here and basically just getting kicked out into the driveway, which isn't ideal. So we're going to catch that drain pipe there, and that basically runs from the front of the garage here and then like kicks over. You can kind of see where that's cut out at, and then what we'll do is we'll tee into that there. And so that's how we designed it. And in the meantime, this piece of concrete was 4 inches thick, and what I needed to do was figure out how to shade that down to 2 inches, which was finding a tile place in Seattle. I think it was Allied Tile that had helped me cut that, which is super generous of them. I mean, they charged me for it, but they didn't have to. They're like, we don't do this stuff. And I'm like, can you give it a try? And so they did, and they turned out great. So thanks to those guys. So we had the finish piece cut, and now the goal was to figure out, well, how are we going to make that happen with a drain, sort of a drain. So what you see here is this is in Revit, and this is basically the existing, the as is. And what we did was we cut a piece out of the slab here, and the thought was to do a catch basin, but a couple things were going to happen here. So this is the cut slab, this is the existing slab, and what we were going to do is put a rock base on the bottom here, and then that's going to hold up the catch basin, and then we're going to put a filter fabric on top of the catch basin and wrap rock around it. So basically like a pillow of rocks that sit on top of this, and then that holds up the cut slab. And the tricky thing here is that we know that, you know, had I thought about this sooner, I would have had this cut, or had picked I would have had the slab cut to a particular catch basin size. But again, I wasn't even thinking about this. I was thinking we're just going to do a typical floor drain in there, and it wasn't until that cutout appeared so clean and nice to me that I wanted to go this route. So we kind of had to make do, and we know that water is going to fall through the sides, basically through here, right through this square, and we knew that this catch basin wasn't going to catch it all, just due to the size constraints. And so we were in that pillow of rock, you know, some of that water is going to make it into the catch basin and out through that downspout, and then the other water is just going to, hopefully, we made a dry well underneath this, a pseudo dry well under here, only 12 inches, but water will go down here and hopefully disperse into the soil. If it doesn't, this is sealed, so if the water does come up and breaches this plane, it's not going to come into back up into the sidewalk. It's just going to come over the top and into the catch basin here. So that's how we did this little detail. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And then here's a quick video of kind of me going through the process of making these pillows. So I'd asked the drainage team to do this, but all they did was they put the catch basin in, and then they put the filter fabric over the top. But then I'm like, oh, you got to burrito it. And one of the other workers that I was working with, he understood what that meant, and when they were doing a pipe, he completely burritoed it. There was rocks, filter on the bottom, rocks, then filter on the top. So when I said that, I had made the assumption that he knew what I was talking about. And what he did was he put the catch basin in and the filter fabric on top here, and then just put rocks on top. And the rationale for me to have this kind of pillow of rocks, as you'll see in the video, is that it's going to allow me to adjust it. It's going to allow me to take out the rocks without having to vacuum them all out, which you'll see me doing here. Every time I want to check the catch basin, basically I want to just pull those 2 bags of rocks out, look at it, and then put them back in and level that a little bit, and hopefully that's it. So this is basically me going through the process of, I'm vacuuming up some leaves here. I'll scrub through this best I can. And then there's a point here where, so there you kind of see the slab thickness, right? So it's not quite 4 inches, but that's the bottom. Then you kind of see the rocks here that he just laid on top over the filter fabric. So I'm kind of debating here how I'm going to manage all this. And that's the bag. So my genius idea here was that I would put a bag over the bottom of the shop vac like that, and that'll just catch the rocks, and I'll just use that bag to and drop in the thing. But you know what they say about God and men who make plans. So they say God laughs every time men try to make plans. So that's me trying to just vacuum that out, and me, in my head, I'm like, oh, that's going right into the bag, and clearly it's not going into the bag. And you can see the filter fabric over top of that catch basin in there. And so I'll vacuum that out. Yep, there's no rocks in there. So there's me just hand putting them in there. That's fine. You know, things very rarely work as well as you think they're going to do. So that's me cutting through those rocks and putting them in that bag. And see how that's the goal, right? Is me to just have these 2 bags in here. And when I need to look in there and clean it or whatever, I just pull them out and clean it, versus having that layer of rocks that I would have to vacuum out each time and then put back in. And ideally, you know, this is going to not need cleaning very much. And then so this is just me adding another bag. 2 of those bags weren't out. So these were beer filter bags. I think I'm going to try to go with something a little bit more hardy than this. I think that I just think they're just going to wear pretty quickly, but we'll see. I don't know. I have filter fabric on top of that catch basin, so it'll be nice. I can just pull them out and vacuum it out again. So that's me now, tossing another bag in. Then all I'm going to do now is try to finesse this in here so that gets that plate nice and level with the ground, if not just a hair lower. I mean, literally a hair. And this isn't a walking path. I mean, this is over here, but no one's really going to be walking on this specific area. So I'm not really concerned with the weight of this all on that catch basin. If someone steps on it, it's going to be fine. Like I said, I'm not real worried about it. So we get that all leveled in place. And then that's me kind of, again, finessing this in here, just moving some stones around, trying to get it to sit perfect. And it doesn't sit, you know, it's never going to sit perfect. So that's really pretty close to flush, if not exactly flush. And that's just me finessing it. And so that's the end piece there. So what you see here is obviously just the drain, and I had to make it a little cutout in here. And this is a marine hatch pool, so it's rated for, you know, salt water and just abuse that typically sailboats and things would get. And this pops up, so you would you click on this little piece here, this area pops up, and then it allows you to lift this stone out of place. Trying to make it as discreet as possible, but you need something to check in there and change the filter fabric and change the pillows if you need to. But that's how I handled a simple detail that I thought was going to go one way and end up going this way. And like I said, I'm really happy with at least the look of it. We'll see how it functions in the rain. I'm not super concerned. I feel like we've got a nice fail safe. If it doesn't work perfectly, it'll all just back up into the drain pipe and stormwater drain a pipe that we connected to the catch basin. So that's how I handled a drain detail that we made into kind of a shadow line drain to keep it nice and clean design. Thanks.